Okay.
Okay, there we go. All right, and I will look into your sweet eyes. Okay, are we good? Okay, all right.
Okay, Emmanuel, I'm curious, has Subud spread since you began all of this? Is it spreading still?
Spreading still. Well, as usual, Subud has a way of diminishing over time. I mean, I think there were about, over time, at least 300 or 400 people opened in Subud, but now in Ukraine, I think there might be about 80. And of that 80, probably 10 have already fled Ukraine. So that brings it down to 70 in Ukraine. And those 70, probably 10 of them have moved away from their houses and are somewhere else. Some of them have moved west. Some of them have moved just into different places that are safer and away from the big centers, or in places that are not likely to get bombed. So
clearly the war has exacerbated the development of Subud there. I mean, it's made it more difficult.
Yeah, I would say, definitely. It has made life more difficult for everybody, whether they're in Subud or not. It's
yes. In a similar way here, we're facing restrictions on going to church and things like that. I mean, because of COVID. I mean,
right.
Without a war, it still has hit us a lot. So anyway, and the other question I would have is about what you said. I wanted to go back to your experience of finding that older man as you were hiking here.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Did you ever have any flash on why that was so special?
Why it took place?
Yes. Did you ever have any subsequent insight about that experience? Sometimes you have an experience and then later there's some sort of light illumination of what you experienced, that you go, oh, that's what that was.
Well, only I just saw this kind of it reminded me of there's some Spanish painter that paints skies where things seem to be going everywhere, and I forget which painter it is, but there's one painting in particular. It's a night sky, and it looks like there's illumination going on, and I don't know. It just felt like that was just a foretelling of illumination coming to this part of the world. That's all I felt, and I felt like a sign. Yes, it was definitely a sign. I just didn't know I would be part of it. I had no idea that I was going to be an assistant in this process, so.
Have you ever had an opportunity to speak with Ibu Rahayu or anyone about the experiences you've had?
Not with Ibu personally. I've had a couple of different communications, both with Bapak and with Ibu, but they were more like internal ones that were within me,
Yes.
In the beginning of Subud, with Bapak, I felt like he was assisting me and saying to me, like, well, all these people are chasing after me, but you're different. You don't have to do this. You're an independent guy, and just follow your latihan. Just follow the guidance of God within you, and you'll be fine. And from Ibu, it was like do the practical thing. Doing work for Subud, you should never be injured. You should never be hurt by anything you do for Subud. So it was my 4th year of being international helper, and I saw my bank account kind of going down and down and down, and I was, a little concerned about it, and I sort of asked within myself, Ibu, what should I do? And she said, never get injured by work you do for Subud. So I immediately realized, well, instead of going for 2 weeks this time, I'm going to go for 1 week. And instead of going for, some other time, I have to go a little shorter. And, I just was making practical steps towards living with Subud and not getting damaged financially.
Well, I think that's practical advice for anybody.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, I think it's wonderful to hear it out loud, because I think a lot of people feel they ought to sacrifice everything.
Well, I don't believe so. I think you got to keep your feet on the ground, and that's
How is it now for you? I mean, you're connected with Halim Korzybska, who has been accepting lots of refugees, I understand, at his place in Poland.
Right.
And is he getting Subud refugees as well, or just general refugees?
No, I think I don't think he's gotten any Subud refugees. I think he's gotten a couple of families that were just refugees from Ukraine, and I think they're actually going to be moving on pretty soon, according to him. And he's got there's a conference that's going on in July at his at Vilchiska, this wellness center to be. And then there'll be a Subud camp in the first week of August at Vilchiska also. It's a wonderful place. It's got a couple of ponds, big ponds where you can swim, and it's a lovely place. It's lots of room, lots of space, and lots of place for camping and cooking, whatever you want, and doing latihan and having a good time,
Listen, I happen to have a friend here who would also like to ask you some questions. So Sure. Is it all right? It's Reynold Weisinger. He's also our Subud brother, and he's visiting. And I'd like to just move off my chair and let him sit in this chair and talk to this picture here.
Sure. Okay.
So. Hi, I've never met you except for now, but it's a pleasure.
Hello. How are you doing, young man?
Yeah, and one thing I've been thinking is we don't have a clear picture of what kind of people are in Subud in the Ukraine. It'd be nice to hear a little bit about their occupations or their interests or particular stories that are of interest, or challenges they have to meet in life and how Subud has helped them. Yeah. Just fill it out a little bit, other than just knowing there are members there, if there are people that have impressed you.
Well, absolutely, and I'm going to see if I can capture a couple of pictures that might be of interest. I'll do so while I'm talking to you. But there's a wide variety of people in Subud, and they're from IT specialists to camp counselors to people that run nature food stores and whatnot. Let me see. There's something that's going on the screen here. Let me pull it off the screen. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there are all kinds of people. Then there are people just taking care of their parents. There's people who work in military industry as technicians. There's people that are translators. There's people that are taxi drivers. There's let's see.
What about artists?
There are artists. Yeah, there are video makers. One boy from well, not boy. When I met him, he was a boy. He was 7 years old when I met him, and he was the guy that I told you about who I made a movie with in the beginning. Well, now he's working with a Ukrainian military guy, working with drones and demining areas around the big cities that the Russians have left mines in the ground and unexploded munitions, and these drones are getting rid of them, and so that's what he's doing. So there's a wide variety of, and then some people are just housewives or taking care of their old mothers and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's of interest, and Ukraine has been an education for the world in a way, and Subud members in particular.
Yeah.
I happened to have been in Shalanda when Bapa talked about the suffering because of the Iraq war. And one of the things he said at that time is that we must feel the suffering of humanity, that it's necessary for us, if we make spiritual progress, that we're able to feel the suffering. And I think that that's been especially true with Ukraine. There's something about Ukraine that really fills our hearts and makes us feel the situation people are in there. And we think about it, we talk about it, we pray about it. And I think in Subud, maybe there's a special connection because there's these groups of Subud people there as well. And so I guess that's something to be grateful for, in spite of the horror and the suffering, that something good can come out of it, that we can learn something from this experience.
Right, right. Well, I mean, in every case, you know, it's like I said, it's regrettable when anybody gets killed in a war, and it's you know, it's amazing. But you know, there's some interesting stories that even one of our Subud members, he's a helper from Kiev, and he told me a story that his mother told him that during World War II, when the Nazis had taken over their village, they had this Nazi soldier that was living in their house. And one day, the Nazi soldier got friendly with this guy, and he was 2 years old or 3 years old at the time, and sitting on this Nazi soldier's lap. And his mother told him that this soldier began to cry because he was thinking about his own son, that he might never see him again. And it was just such a human feeling about here's you know, your supposedly evil enemy, and it's a man, another ordinary man, just crying about the son he might never see again. And you know, we're talking about human beings here, and sometimes you see it, you know, a couple of times, you know, you'll see it in the video. Sometimes you'll see the soldiers, Russian soldiers, coming into a village or coming into a yard somewhere, and an old granny will be out there just saying, "Just get the hell out of here, you brats." I mean, I could be your grandmother, and you don't want to be intimidating me or even thinking of killing me. Get out of my yard. Get out of my country. You're in the wrong place. And in some cases, the soldiers are human and they leave. In some cases, they're like animals and they'll shoot the people. And you don't see those videos, some of them, and you don't hear about a lot of them. But
well, it might be interesting to ask for some firsthand accounts of people's life in the war, because people do care about you. They care about the Ukrainians, and they care about the Subud members there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
There are stories and things that can be passed on to us. We would appreciate it. I'm going to give over to Latifah now. It's been a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, same here. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and good points. Thanks. You made good points.
He was sitting here and asking me questions on the side, and I couldn't quite hear the questions on the side.
Yeah.
Why don't you come and ask the questions?
Yeah. Well, that's fine. That's fine.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're probably at the end of what we started out to say. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you feel is important to share with our brothers and sisters, to share with people who are not in Subud as well, that your message that you want people to hear?
Okay, well, I'm sure there is. What comes to mind is some of these older women that I've met, and one story. It was like I went to visit my friend Leonid and his family at their apartment, and his mother came in from the country. She had a backpack full of stuff and brought it in, and they started unpacking it, and they took the backpack in the other room, and then I see her go over to a bare wall and start to kind of have a kind of religious experience and be very quiet and as if she were praying, but it's a bare wall. There's nothing there. And after she left, I asked my friend, I said, your mother did something a little strange while you were unpacking the backpack, and she was over by the wall there and kind of standing very quietly, but there's nothing there. And he said, well, there used to be an icon there. And I thought, oh, I understand. Then recently, a friend of mine was in a village with his grandmother picking potatoes and sent me a picture of his grandmother. And I said, oh my God, I want to go pick potatoes with her. I mean, she looks about 80 years old, but you want to go pick potatoes with her. I mean, for sure. And you know, there's such a human force that we're talking about here, and human beings. You know, that's one thing for sure. And you know, the amount of suffering, yeah, there's quite a bit. It's quite amazing how they've adapted to this degree of suffering. I'm not sure that Americans could do this. I just came on a bus trip from Reading to Seattle, and we had a breakdown in Portland, and everybody just kind of was spilled out into the sidewalk, and this is 50 people having to wait for a few minutes for an hour for another bus, and they were acting so crazy and acting so spoiled and so, oh my God. And these people in Ukraine, they've had to leave their lives, their apartments, their jobs. They have no security. And what are you complaining about here? I'm just like flabbergasted about how thin-skinned Americans are and how durable and resourceful. I mean, my friend from Kharkov, she left her company, she left her house, she left her apartment, she left her mother, and went to 500 miles west, and immediately found a place where she could rent a sewing machine and started making clothes again in this little village. You know, there's a resourceful woman. You know, you want people like this in your life and in your country. And yeah, I mean, I think Vladimir Putin has made a very big mistake by making 44 million enemies. This is not a good strategy. It's kind of dumb, you know.
How do people feel about the president of Ukraine? I mean, I've seen videos of him as an entertainer, and you know, as someone who did comedy a long time ago, I think, yay for comedians who have a way of surviving. You know, is he really as inspiring to Ukrainians as he seems to be to Americans?
Well, I'll have to find that out. I don't know enough to answer that question. I've listened to him before, and I think he is inspiring. And I think he's one of the only true leaders, only true leaders in the world right now that I can see, that I've seen. But I don't know. It's easy to judge people, and yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'd have to let a little time pass before I pass judgment on figuring out what's going on with him. But I think he's a pretty good leader, and I think he's doing all he can to rally his people and saying, you know, get out of our country, and we should not have to compromise anything for you people, because, you know, it's like someone coming into the United States and taking Florida, Alabama, you know, Louisiana and Mississippi, and saying, oh, okay, we've got that, and maybe we'll take Texas too. We kind of like Missouri. I like, oh, well, as long as we're going to take all of that, let's take Tennessee and Kentucky. Okay.
Well, I think that group is here. I think it's called the Republicans.
Oh, right. Well, who knows?
A certain group of Republicans, I should say, not all of them.
Right, not all of them, for sure. Not all. There's a lot of very great ones, and yeah. You know, yeah. Anyway, but what else? Is there anything else that I haven't mentioned? There's probably a ton of other things, but you know, you'll come across them in your thinking, and send me an email, and I'll be in the United States until the 19th of July. So
I think all of us in Subud would be sending you our love and our prayers, and we're very grateful for your example,
well,
your commitment to the brothers and sisters in Ukraine and Russia. You've really followed your guidance. It's taken a lot of courage. I would think you seem to do it with just, oh, well, the bus is here, I better get on it.
Well, it kind of is here.
And it's very inspiring. And I'm very grateful that you could share some of it. I'm sorry if I haven't asked enough questions to pull out all the flowers and gifts you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them. I feel very grateful, and I've had as many experiences as I've had, and I feel, you know, I guess I would have to say I feel compassion for people who have not, you know, had such lucky experiences and don't believe in God anymore because they've just never seen the proof. And I get that, you know, I get why people give up and why they don't believe in God, why they leave Subud, why all these things. And sometimes, you know, Bapak said, you have to have patience and you have to have sincerity and you have to, you know, you have to have a little persistence. And, you know, I met this, but, you know, our latihan is always developing our human force. And you have to understand this is going on every day and you are becoming more and more of a human being. And, you know, I got this so clearly. I was in Santa Fe about a week ago and I met this Palestinian man in a shop and I felt such an urge to hug this guy. I just said, get over here. I reached across the counter and gave this guy a big hug and for, you know, 5-10 seconds, you know, get over here. You know, I love you, man, you know, and we need this kind of force in the world. We need to bring this human force into the world and you know, that's what's going to save the planet.
Well, thank you for being one of its messengers.
Well, if I am, I appreciate the opportunity.
And being a brother.
Well, for sure. Well, thank you.
God bless.
Are you signing off?
I think so.
Okay.
Wait, one more thing. Yeah.
I want this email.
What?
I want this email.
Yes, we want your email. How can we get in touch with you?
Well, you have my email. It's
Okay.
Emmanuel Aronie@hotmail.com.
Okay, I have his email. So I don't know if you want to put it on the video. So
I don't know how to do it right on the
no, I mean, it might not be a good idea to put on the video. You'll get a lot of emails from.
I did want to find some good pictures here, but I know it'll take too much time to.
No, but I love. Let's do show your pictures.
To find them, you know, I have the pictures of oh my God. Let's see. Give me a second here. Okay, here's arrival in Kharkov. About, I don't know, 5 months ago, like, oh.
There, hold it there. That's pretty good. Right in the middle. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, snow, 5:30 in the morning.
No, and there's the two people. Is that one of you? One of them?
No. That's just, I'm taking a photograph.
Okay.
So that's coming into Kharkov at early in the morning. Let's see here. Come on, there we go. Okay, here's a picture of the shop, Tanya's sewing shop.
Okay, yes.
The three ladies there, and I love these girls. These are great gals, and that was the operation she had to leave. She had to leave that all behind.
Okay.
And let me see more stuff. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, art on the streets in Dnipro. God. Look at that. This is on the sidewalk in Dnipro.
Oh my.
I mean,
Before it
that's-
was all bombed away.
no, it wasn't. It hasn't been bombed yet.
Okay.
That's Dnipro.
Okay.
That's just a sidewalk.
Okay.
A giant shoe. Let's see. I told you about Vilchiska and this place that where Halim Krzybski is. This is Halim in front of Vilchiska.
Yes, yes, I see.
Yeah,
Yes, he worked on, I think that was his family estate at one point.
that
And I
is.
think they went back after the war and they redid it
Yeah, yeah. So,
when Maya was still alive.
right. So I was there with him there and anyway. Yeah, and here's the two of us at the airport in Warsaw.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Yeah, but there's more. I wanted to find.
Well, you can make a slideshow that can be
Right.
added later.
Right. Yeah.
Rahman can help you do that.
Yeah. Here, okay, and here's this is one of the mothers that we help to take care of. This is a mother who's she's too old to leave her apartment.
I see. Yes.
I mean, that's Sophia's mother, and yeah, there's much more.
And is that music group that used to, are they still in Subud? Poor?
Only
One of them?
Zhenya is, but here is my grandmother who came from Ukraine.
Oh, yes. So she's your inspiration.
Well, she's one of them, but she's
Very beautiful.
yeah, she's fine, a fine old lady. She was 40 years old when my father was born,
Oh my.
and her husband was 60. And yeah, he was born in 1856. Now, 5 years before the Civil War,
Yes.
and died in 1944. He was 88 years old. So anyway, yeah. Such is life. Well, okay, good. It's been fun, and I guess I'll. Hey, Rahman, how do I finish up the interview here? Oh, a recording. I guess I can click it off. A stop recording, a pause recording.
Thank you.
I'm going to pause.